Hi y'all, I'm Allison. Welcome to the Mighty Bujo. Before we get started, I want to show you this little pack I found at Staples. It's about $4, student math set, and it comes with the compass, a little pencil, a protractor, a ruler, pencil sharpener, eraser, all in a little pouch. So like I said, I think it was $3 to $5. And we're going to be using the compass to set up my November Mood Mandala. And if anybody's used the compass, you know how tricky they can be to get those little rings at the very beginning. So I'm going to be fumbling with it here a little bit and then finally hit my stride. Now I did count down to the center of my page, and I know I've got it written down somewhere. It's 14 dots in from left to right, 14 dots in, and 20 dots down from the top of your page will be the center. And then you just, after you get it going, you can either make them all the same size and extend your compass at equal increments, or you can vary it. I like to vary the widths of the rings. Now I'm also holding down the left side of my book to keep the page from curling up. And it does get a little tricky once your compass is extended this far. Part of the problem was the little hole in the center had gotten bigger, so the metal point was slipping, which is why I'm having so much difficulty on these outer rings. But just stick with it, have a thin eraser, and you can finally get those last rings up with some persistence. And then you want to go in and make some grid lines, and this will help you keep your rings proportionate, not the rings proportionate, the elements. So here I'm using the protractor, marking 45 degrees, and then with my scientific method of just counting the little lines in between, I'm splitting it again. So I didn't want to have to bother to actually read the measurements, so I just use the little lines. Now here, I did not, since that hole in the center had gotten so big, if you look closely, you can see my lines don't actually intersect 100% through the center, and that's going to cause me a little bit of a trouble in this first ring, which you're about to see. And I also did go in before I started and faintly erased some of those pencil lines. So I did mention that this month I was going to be putting a little twist to my mandala, and that is I do not have a preset mood list. I'm going to build it as I go. So I'm a little behind on setting this up again. We're already well into November. So I've just been jotting down how I felt for the day, waiting for the time to actually be able to sit down to do this. So my first one, November 1st, I felt productive, so I picked a color that I liked, and that's how I'm doing my mandala. This part is terrible. I was so upset with it, and then try to fix it, and if I didn't have stuff written on the back, I might have honestly been tempted for the first time to actually rip out a page, but I decided to just try and salvage it somehow, some way. Yeah, and it's not looking good. And then for my second color, I decided to pick with the blue. And this will now be for relaxed. One of the reasons I decided to try it this way was during October, I had a long list of moods I could choose from, but of course not, I didn't use a lot of them, and I also found I didn't have what I needed. So with setting up my channel for the first time, I was very overwhelmed, but I didn't have an overwhelmed little thing. So I decided this time I'm just gonna list them down and make it as I go. The beginning of the month, this gives me the chance to pick the colors that I like, and I'm trying to stick with kind of a fall Thanksgiving color palette, so I'm gonna probably be choosing a lot of browns, but we'll see how the month goes. So happy that even though the center is a nightmare, it is starting to come together, and I think I'm going to be able to salvage this mandala. Yay. And since I had 2 days in a row of being creative, I obviously didn't pick a new color or write down a new mood. I just put a little tick mark underneath creative because I like to keep track of which moods I experienced during the month. Anyway, this was the beginning of my mandala. We'll be building it throughout the month. Hopefully I will have the next week, which would be November 6th through the 12th, up and ready on Monday. So until the next time, be sure to subscribe, leave me a comment, and I hope y'all have a great month. Bye.